Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know what time it is? Bomb Squad! Yep. Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder is making his return to the ring this weekend against the Nordic Nightmare Robert Helenius. Let's chop it up.
I hear him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Hey, what's up with it, family? It's Hot Boxing Minute. Yours truly, your favorite pharmaceutical engineer turned boxing analyst, back at you with that uncut realness, that raw as only I can deliver it to you, because it's the only way I know how to go about breaking down this boxing thing. We got the return of Tuscaloosa, Alabama's finest against the big man from Finland. Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder is going to be fighting the Nordic Nightmare, Robert Helenius, at the Barclays Center, out there in Brooklyn, New York City, the Rotten Apple, the Big Apple, the Empire State Building, Jay-Z, Alicia Keys, Hell Kitchen, all that good stuff. Anyways, love him or hate him, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder is making his return, and I like Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. I'm not going to go so far as to say he's the best heavyweight in the game. No, he's not. I would still say that would be either Tyson Fury or Alexander Usyk. Personally, I picked Fury over Usyk, but many boxing fans out there would put Usyk over Fury. Then we got AJ, and then we got Deontay Wilder. He's somewhere in the top three, depending on how you view these fighters. Some might actually have Anthony Joshua above Deontay Wilder. Me personally, I think Deontay Wilder would have knocked out Anthony Joshua. If you're from across the pond, you probably think Anthony Joshua would knock out Deontay Wilder. Listen, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder is making his return to the ring, and love him or hate him, he is the greatest American heavyweight boxing champion of the modern era. By default, listen, before you criticize him, if you cannot run a mile, if you cannot bust a grape in a fruit fight, if you got a beer belly and diabetic blood markers in your most recent blood work, you by default are not allowed to criticize Deontay Wilder. Congratulate, don't hate. Pop your collar. So, anyways, let's get back to Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. He's going to be fighting the man from Finland, born in Sweden, Robert Helenius. The size difference is really negligible. Robert Helenius is 6 foot 6.5 with a 79-inch reach. Deontay Wilder gets a half inches of height. He's 6'7", 83-inch reach, so he's given up about 4 inches. And if you watch Deontay Wilder fight, you know he uses every single inch of that reach when he's fighting, because he likes to, set up that jab, get you into a little lullaby, and throw that right hand down the pipe. We already know what Deontay Wilder's trying to do. Everybody knows Deontay the Bronze Bomber's game plan. Land that right hand, but he lands that right hand on everybody, even the ever so elusive Walmart Muhammad Ali, Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. Yes. So, Deontay Wilder, 42-2-1 with 41 knockouts, 97.6% knockout to win ratio. Robert Helenius, 31-3, 20 knockouts. Robert Helenius is riding a wave of confidence. He is coming off of back-to-back wins against the once highly touted Adam Konoski. I was never big on Konoski, but he did have some key wins. He was 20-0 when he first went up against Robert Helenius. Robert Helenius has shown, though, that he can be touched. He did get knocked out by Gerald Washington and Johan Duhaupas, who, if I'm not mistaken, I think Duhaupas got knocked out by Deontay Wilder, but he also lost the decision to Dillian Whyte. Not a bad person in the professional heavyweight ranks to lose a decision too, because Dillian Whyte is a veteran in the game with a deep resume himself. You know what you're going to get with Deontay Wilder. He is a cagey fighter who is, on the outset, it looks like he's lacking technically. And I guess it's easy enough to say that, but he did win a bronze medal in the Olympics. So he isn't without any technical capability. And regardless of whether or not he has deficiencies of his technical skills, he has still managed to find a way to land that right hand, despite the fact everybody knows what's coming. And if you don't know, that in itself is art, and that is sweet science. The ability to have a punch that everyone is looking out for, that everyone trains for, that everyone works their head movement and works the counters and, the slips and the moves for that overhand right or that right cross. And yet he still catches everyone with it. He knocked down Tyson the Gypsy King Fury in every single one of their fights. And Tyson the Gypsy King Fury is not an easy person to hit. This fight should be entertaining. It is very compelling. If you're a boxing fan, there is no reason why you don't want to see this fight. Does Deontay Wilder still have what it takes to be one of the top dogs in the heavyweight division? A heavyweight era, which is one of the best heavyweight eras ever, which is debatable. I'd say you got the 70s, obviously, the Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Sonny Liston, Floyd Patterson was there in the 70s for a little bit too. Then you had the 90s, Riddick Bowe, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, you know. And then we have this modern era, Deontay Wilder, Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. We got Dillian White, Anthony Joshua. We just recently got Alexander Usyk, who's been on a vicious tear. Joseph Parker. There's a lot of talent in the heavyweight division. I try not to compare it against previous eras. Look, folks, if you try to compare what's going on in current eras of boxing, you are never going to be able to thoroughly enjoy it. Every single era looks at the era after it as being a watered-down version of it. Fighters from the 1910s and 1920s were wondering why fighters couldn't go 15, 20, 30 rounds like they did in the past before them. Some fighters, when they were putting on gloves, said, why do they wear gloves? We're bare-knuckle fighters. So people are always going to complain about successive generations of fighters watering down. But regardless of what, boxing is a difficult sport, not for the faint of heart. Definitely the sport of the poor for people who like to fight. And this generation is dope. Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, does he still have something left to give back to the boxing world? We're going to find out soon enough. Robert Helenius was a former sparring partner for Deontay Wilder in his build-up to the Tyson Fury fight. Now, if you check on my videos, I do have an interview with Stephan Jabari Shaw, an up-and-coming blue-chip heavyweight. I wouldn't say he's a prospect. He's undefeated. I want to say he's got 18-0 right now, but my man Stephan Shaw was in camp with Deontay Wilder for multiple training camps leading up to his fights with Tyson Fury. And he was there when Robert Helenius was there sparring too, because Robert Helenius, Junior Fall, and a whole slew of other fighters were there in Deontay Wilder's camp. He witnessed Robert Helenius get stunned. It's on record, y'all. And he told me this many times in the gym. He said Robert Helenius was getting cracked. He would get wobbled. And then my boy Stephan would step in to save the day and keep the round going. That's neither here nor there. It is just sparring. You can glean a little bit of information from sparring, but ultimately, sparring is where both fighters, one of the fighters, if not both of the fighters, are working on things. Sometimes when I'm sparring, I only work on defense. I'm just taking shots, trying to figure out how to slip and move and try to counter effectively. Sometimes I'm working on offense, how to let off offense on the front foot, how to let off offense on the back foot, how to cut angles. So you really can't glean much off of sparring, but Deontay Wilder was cracking, and which does let you know that Deontay Wilder did at the time have the speed and the reflexes to get past Robert Helenius' defense to get him wobbled. Like I said, the big question up in the air right now when it comes to Tyson the Gypsy King, with Deontay Wilder is, does Deontay Wilder still have it? Because when you get beat down like he did in that third fight against Tyson Fury, it can take something from you. It can take your milliseconds off of your reaction time. It can take away your ability to really process what's going on in real time inside the ring. Those fine motor skills, it's easier and better for you to get knocked out with a flash knockout than it is to get beat down slowly. It's just so much more traumatic on the brain and your nervous system to get beat down slowly like Deontay Wilder was. Will there be anything left in the tank for Deontay Wilder? We'll find out. Deontay Wilder's 37 years old. As it turns out, Robert Helenius is actually older than Deontay Wilder by a few months, so the age shouldn't be a factor. We'll find out what's going on this Saturday night. I'm picking Deontay Wilder to win by vicious knockout, hopefully setting up a fight with Deontay Wilder and possibly Alexander Usyk or AJ. If not, I think him versus Andy Ruiz would be an awesome matchup. But who do you think wins in this fight coming up this weekend between Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius? Let me know in the comments section, folks, what you're thinking. Hit that like button if you haven't already done so. All right, I'm going to go to the co-main event, or maybe it's the undercard. The return of Caleb Plant. Yes, folks, it's Caleb Plant. Listos Pelos Chingazos. He's making his return this weekend against Anthony Durrell as the co-main event to the Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius card. And I'm looking forward to this fight. Boxing community, Are you not excited to see Caleb Plant again? I am. Now, Caleb Plant put up a pretty decent fight against Canelo Alvarez. That was his last fight. Oddly enough, Anthony Dirrell's last fight was on the undercard to the Caleb Plant-Canelo Alvarez fight. That was where he fought Marcus Hernandez and had that crazy bolo uppercut. That was a stunning knockout candidate of the year. Stunning candidate for knockout of the year. Anthony Dirrell's knockout of Marcos Hernandez. Why am I tongue-tying my slurs? So, either way, let me say this over again, okay? So, we got Caleb Plant and Anthony Dirrell going heads up this week. Look at the words. We got Caleb Plant and Anthony Dirrell going heads up this weekend. Caleb Plant coming off that loss to Canelo Alvarez. Oddly enough, on that same card was Anthony Dirrell's last fight against Marcus Hernandez. That was where Anthony Dirrell had that crazy bolo uppercut / candidate for knockout of the year on the undercard to the Caleb Plant-Canelo Alvarez fight. So it's interesting for them both to come full circle to them being a co-main event to Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius this weekend. And you know, Anthony Dirrell is part of the Dirrell brothers. His brother Andre was on the U.S. Olympic team, and he has a deep amateur pedigree. He is a little bit long in the tooth. I want to say he's 37 years old, which oddly enough, by coincidence, is the same age that Deontay Wilder is. Caleb Plant is 30 years old. You know, we've already know what we're going to get with Caleb Plant. We're going to get a technical boxer that uses his good footwork, stays behind his jab, loves to use a shoulder roll. Anthony Dirrell is a little more conventional in his approach. And Anthony Dirrell is a well-rounded fighter. I wouldn't say he does anything specifically well, but he definitely has enough power and enough pop to keep his opponent honest. He fights well enough on the back foot, definitely prefers to be on the front foot. He can be overwhelmed with offense, as we saw in the case with him in his loss to David Benavidez. Right after that, he got the draw with Kyron Davis, which was one of the fighters that David Benavidez ended up beating. But Anthony Dirrell does bring a lot of tools to the table, but that 37 years old, I think, is going to be one of the issues. Just a real quick breakdown of where they're at in their careers. Caleb Plant is 21-1 with 12 knockouts, 6'1" with a 74-inch reach. Anthony Dirrell is 34-2 with 25 knockouts, and he's 6'1" with a 74.5-inch reach. Negligible reach advantage for Anthony Dirrell. I think the youth is going to be a big factor. Anthony Dirrell, in that loss to David Benavidez, looked real shop-worn. He didn't look terribly impressive to me in that fight against Marcos Hernandez up until he caught that flash knockout. That was a crazy win for Anthony Dirrell, which gave him a resurgence and gave him an opportunity to fight someone like Caleb Plant to possibly get a shot at fighting Canelo Alvarez at super middleweight. He was calling for Canelo Alvarez, but boxing is so competitive in that 168 weight class that a knockout over Marcus Hernandez is likely not going to open the door for you to get that Willy Wonka golden lottery ticket fight with Canelo Alvarez. And give it up to Anthony Dirrell. Much like Caleb Plant, he was a former champion. I think he was a 2-time WBC super middleweight champion. I believe that Caleb Plant is going to win this fight by unanimous decision. I think in the early part of the fight, it'll be competitive. But I believe as the rounds go on, the age difference is going to show. And Anthony Dirrell has kind of been through quite a few fights and wars and long 12-round matches with guys like Badu Jack and Sakai Obika. So I think all of this will have an effect, and you'll see the culmination of Anthony Dirrell, just like his brother Andre, kind of reaching the end of the road of their career. They're on the back nine. And Caleb Plant, I've always believed in Caleb Plant and his capabilities. He's not good enough to beat Canelo, but I believe Caleb Plant, on a good day, has the skill set capable to beat anybody in the super middleweight division. In the same token, he could lose to anyone in the super middleweight division, specifically a David Benavidez or, say, a Jermall Charlo, should he decide to move up, because he ain't doing anything with himself in the 160-pound division. So that's my pick this weekend. I'm going with Caleb Plant to win by 12-round unanimous decision against Anthony Dirrell, boxing community. How do you think this fight plays out between Caleb Plant and Anthony Dirrell? Let me know in the comments section. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already done so. I'm going to end the video on that one. They've got the return of Frank Sanchez on this card. Also, one of the Russell brothers, Gary Antonio, will be having this fight. I don't want to go into too much details on the smaller cards on these, because these videos will go on forever if I do. Anyways, hit that follow if you haven't already done so. Y'all know what time it is, y'all. This is Hot Boxing Minute, the future of boxing analysis on YouTube and TikTok. Peace.